Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to the press conference Voices from Gaza, Recording History. Thank you for your patience while we connect with our guests in Gaza. Currently we do only have one of our guests with us and we are waiting for the other. I would like to begin by asking Takashi Asai, the president of UPLINK, who is the distributor of this documentary series, to begin with his prepared remarks, and then we will move over to our guests in Gaza. お願いします。
アップリンクの浅井と申します。今日はありがとうございます。たった今なんかインターネットでガザとつながらないっていうことで、今ガダさんという一人女性の方が入ってて、監督のムハンマドさんがまだ入ってないので、非常に数日前もムハンマドさんの家族が空爆で亡くなったりしているので、ちょっと非常に心配な状況でした。このプロジェクトはガザ。
Thank you for coming today. I'm the Asai, the president of UPLINK, and we have some internet problems. So only the Ghada was able to get on the internet, but the director Mohammed is still not on. So we have some concerns. A few days ago, he posted on the X that his family died. So we're very concerned.
このプロジェクトはムハンマド監督、ガダさんたちがいるアレフ・マルチメディアというガザの中にある映像制作プロダクションと東京のアップリンクが始めたプロジェクトで、彼らが撮影、それから簡単な編集を行い、でそれをインターネットで東京に送ってもらい、東京のアップリンクのチームで編集をして、で劇場公開と配信を行うプロジェクトです。配信は日本語、英語、フランス語の今サイトで一応世界からアクセスできるように Voices from Gaza のホームページは海外からもアクセスできる状態になっています。
So this is an ongoing project run by UPLINK together with Mohammed and Ghada's company, Alef Multimedia. So they shoot and edit, they do a rough edit of the footage and they'll send it to Tokyo, and at UPLINK we edit the final piece. And we have a theatrical distribution at UPLINK, as well as have it streaming on the internet on the site called The Voices of Gaza. And it will be in English, French, and Japanese, and it could be accessed from all over the world.
私の会社は映画の配給会社で、カンヌ映画祭だとかベルリンで上映された作品を主に輸入して配給して上映するという会社です。ただ映画の配給というシステムだと、映画が制作され、日本で配給されるまでお客さんに届けるまで非常に時間が最大で短くて2年ぐらいかかります。ガザの状況はそのスピードでは待ってられないので、映像で彼らと一緒にもっと速いスピードで届けるっていう方法を、アレフマルチメディアのチームと考えて行っているプロジェクトで、まずシリーズ1を8月22日にオープン公開して、その後、続けていく予定です。
So my company, UPLINK, is a theatrical distribution company, and we mainly distribute films that screened in film festivals like Cannes and Berlin. But usually the film, it takes too long to distribute a film. Usually takes about 2 years. But the situation in Gaza doesn't allow it, and we felt that we need to distribute very quickly. So that's why we talked with the Alef Multimedia, and we decided to stream and release the film that way. And our first episode 1 was released on August 22nd.
I would like to now turn over to our guests in Gaza. Ghada-san, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you here. This is your time to share what you would like. Perhaps you could begin by telling us how you are now, how things are, and then anything that you would like to tell us about this project.
سيدة غادة تفضلي فيك تحكي لنا كيف الوضع عندك هلا بغزة.
تمام. Thank you so much for being here. Mohammed, he is in his way, and he's going to join us in a bit. So this is Ghada, and I worked as a producer for this film. I just wanted to highlight that we have been living under this genocidal war for over 700 days, and this war has spared no one in Gaza. It has impacted almost everyone in Gaza: children, adults, mothers, people with disabilities, people elderly, and everyone else in Gaza. And it spared no one, because we've seen in this war how harsh, how brutal it was. Like, it's not only airstrikes, it's not only bombing, it's not only shells, but it's almost every weapon imaginable that has been deployed in this war. And this created many stories. Like, everyone in Gaza has his own or her own story due to this war. We've seen people who have been amputated, like Ahmed in Gaza. Actually, we've seen them every day. Almost when you pass by a street, you've seen people who lost their legs, or who lost their arms, or who lost a body part. And it is heartbreaking, because those people are supposed to run, are supposed to jump, are supposed to play. But instead, and because of this brutal war machine, we've seen them without a body part. We've seen people who lost their family members, including our director, Mohammed, who lost over 47 ones of his family, including his parents and his 4 siblings and many of his nephews and nieces. And as you indicated at the beginning of this show, like last week, he lost a couple of his family members when an Israeli airstrike hit the apartment of his cousin. And it is heartbreaking. Like, every day in Gaza, you feel that this is gonna be the last day for you, because you don't know and you don't guarantee that you're going to be alive for the coming minute, or for the coming hour, or for the coming day. And again, everyone in Gaza is full of stories right now. Like, everyone has his own or her own story. It's again, this is not a war of airstrikes, but it is of displacement. Today, Israel has ordered 1 million people who live in Gaza City to leave and go to the south. This is one. It is a war of starvation. We've seen over 100 children who died from the starvation, because they couldn't find any food items in their kitchens, so they died. It is a war of poor shelter conditions, because people do not have shelters. They do not have proper homes. And this is also like, it is heartbreaking. I mean, children haven't gone to the school for 2 years. They depend on educational tents, random educational tents. I just wanted to close with this thing, that it's good to keep Gaza in your mind. It's good to tell the stories of Gaza. I'm really glad that we've seen this film being screened in Japan, and I wanted to see, like, hopefully more stories from Gaza and more voices from Gaza being screened in Japan and elsewhere. I'm looking forward to this moment. Thank you so much again.
Thank you so much. As we were waiting for your director, Mohammed, to join us, and so that we can also hear from him, perhaps we can open the floor up to questions. I would like to ask you a question to begin with. You share with us the very harrowing experience it is even just to live your life. Could you maybe share with us about how you feel the role of the media in sharing these stories, when it's even just a struggle to survive? You are using your life in your time to document these stories and to share them with the world. Can you talk about how you see the role of media in this?
فيك تحكي لنا عن دور الإعلام بتوصيل رسالتكم إلى العالم؟
I mean, media plays a very pivotal role. I mean, in amplifying the voices, but unfortunately in Gaza, we've seen how media also enabled the war. Like, we've seen how media, I mean, was one-sided since the beginning of the war. That we've seen how the mainstream media and the Western media were very biased. They show one side of the story, and they almost neglect or ignore the stories of the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And this is heartbreaking because we are on the ground. We see how people live. We see how people are dying and are being killed by this Israeli war machine. But we don't see these stories in the media. We don't see these stories, in a well-deserved part in the media. And this is exactly what is happening. Eventually, we've seen, for example, 100 children died in Gaza. I mean, they are not numbers. I mean, Palestinian children are not numbers. They are, I mean, children like Ahmed, who used to love gymnastics. He has a twin brother. He has a family member. He wanted to stay in Gaza. He wanted to rebuild Gaza. These stories do not get the deserved portion that they need or they deserve to be broadcast in media. And this is also happening not for children, but the Palestinian men, the Palestinian women, the Palestinian teacher, the medical staff, the journalists. I mean, Palestinians were neglected in the media, and we've seen them being shared through numbers, through statistics. And this is not what we wanted. We want to share those people's stories as they wish and as they want, not as numbers, but as parents, as children, as people who deserve to live, as people who deserve to enjoy life.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I understand that our director...
We have Mohammed here,
yes.
right, yeah.
Wonderful. We would, Mohammed, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us, and we would like to ask you if you would please...
أهلا وسهلا فيك سيد محمد ومنحب نطرح
يا
بعض
مرحبا.
الأسئلة.
أنا آسف جدا على التأخير.
I'm sorry for being late.
Not at all. Thank you so much for being here. Please, we would like to ask you to share with us anything that you would like to about your current situation, about the documentary series.
إذا فيك تشرح لنا عن وضعك الحالي وعن تجربتك بالوثائقي.
يعني الآن الساعة 9:20 في مدينة غزة. اليوم استيقظنا فجرا على أوامر عسكرية إسرائيلية مع وقع القنابل والقصف بتطلب من كل سكان شمال غزة ومدينة غزة أوامر للطرد القسري من المدينة اللي أنا عايش فيها. الآن كل
Now it's 9:30 in Gaza, so we wake up with bombardment and also with Israeli military orders to move from the city of Gaza to move elsewhere.
الآن الناس في حيرة شديدة. أنا الآن موجود في مكان يبعد عشرات الأمتار عن المكان اللي صورنا فيه قصة أحمد في المخيم المقام في الجامعة.
The people are really in big embarrassment. So now I'm around 10 meters away from the place where the story of Ahmad started.
يحيط بهذا المكان آلاف الأسر النازحة التي تقيم في خيام.
And in this place, thousands and thousands of families are living under the tents.
بالأمس تم قصف أحد الأبراج السكنية التي تبقيت ولم يتم قصفها المرات السابقة، وهي تقع بجانب المخيمات النازحين. قصف برج كامل وتسويته بالأرض.
So yesterday, near those tent city, one of the remaining towers in Gaza was bombarded and destroyed.
وأول أمس تم قصف أيضا برجين قريبات بالمكان، هم 3 أبراج يحيطوا أماكن النازحين. أيضا تم قصفهم وتسويتهم بالأرض وتشريد مئات العائلات التي تسكن هذه الأبراج.
So 2 days before, also 2 towers near this place were bombarded and completely destroyed, and a lot of people who were living in those buildings were obliged to flee.
بالمناسبة هذه الأبراج هي الأبراج المتبقية التي لم تقصف خلال السنتين الماضيات، وجزء منها قد تضرر بفعل قذائف مدفعية أو استهدافات جزئية لبعض الشقق.
Those towers were the only ones remained here in Gaza. They were completely destroyed this time, but before they were hit by shrapnels and received a bit of destruction.
الناس هنا يدركون أن قصف الأبراج وقصف كل ما تبقى الآن من مباني في مدينة غزة هو لإجبار سكان المدينة على النزوح خارج مدينة غزة وتسوية المدينة بشكل كامل في الأرض.
In order to push people to flee and leave Gaza, the Israeli army is now bombing and destroying every single building and make the whole Gaza a flat ground.
نحن وجميع سكان قطاع غزة ندور في حلقة لا تنقطع من النزوح والهروب من الموت والقنابل.
We people of Gaza, we are in an endless round of fleeing from one place to another place.
تجربتي مع أحمد هي نفس التجربة اللي بعاني فيها واللي بتعاني منها غادة واللي بيعاني منها كل شخص يعيش في مدينة غزة. جميعا نعاني من النزوح، جميعا فقدنا ونفقد كل يوم من أقاربنا قتلى نتيجة القنابل الإسرائيلية. لكن أحمد ما يميزه أو للأسف أن أحمد فقد شقيقه التوأم وفقد أطرافه، لكن ما يميزه أكثر عنا أنه ما زال يحمل إيمان وما زال أمل لم ينقطع منه يعني.
So like Ahmad, everybody here in Gaza is fleeing from one place to another. But what is special with Ahmad, of course, he lost his twin brother, he lost his limbs, but he's still a very hard believer in God.
Thank you so very much for sharing these stories. You have been, with this relationship with UPLINK, there's the opportunity to share these stories in Japan. Also, we have heard that these are going to be available with English, Japanese, and French subtitles. What would you like people who are engaging with these stories to come away with, and what would you like the audience to do after they watch these stories?
طيب انت هلا معك شغل مع ابلينك اللي هن عم يعملوا البرنامج هيدا الوثائقي ويحولوه للغه الانجليزيه والفرنسيه واللغه اليابانيه. هلا انت شو حابب مثلا من الجمهور انه يعمل بعد مشاهده الوثائقي؟
يعني انا دوري الاساسي هو نقل ما يحدث هنا في غزه وفلسطين للناس وللجمهور. الاحتلال الإسرائيلي يرفض السماح لأي كاميرا أو صحفي أجنبي الدخول إلى مدينة غزة أو تغطية الإبادة التي تحدث هنا في غزة. أصبح دوري الأساسي ودور كل صانعي الأفلام حتى الصحفيين أيضا أن نوثق ما يحدث ونظهر للناس حجم المأساة وحجم الإجرام الذي يعود على غزة. هذا دوري الأساسي أنا، وهذا الذي أنا أجيده. لكن أترك مجال للترجمة.
So my main job is to transmit to the whole world what's going on in Gaza. Why? Because the Israeli government is not allowing foreign journalists to come and cover what's going on in Gaza and in Palestine. So my main job is to film and to tell the whole world what's going on there.
نعم، لذلك هو دوري أن أنقل الرواية الحقيقية بدون تشويه، خاصة أن الدعاية الإسرائيلية هي دعاية البروباغندا عالية جدا، ينفق عليها أموال كثيرة حتى يشوه الصورة ولا يظهر الصورة للعالم بشكل جيد.
Israel is using a lot of money to describe what's going on, but as their own propaganda. And so my role is to tell the true story of what's going on in Gaza.
لا أستطيع أن أفرض على الجمهور ما الذي أريد منه أو ما الذي عليه أن يفعل، لكن عليه أن يدرك ويعرف الحقيقة، وعلى الأقل كإنسان أن يبذل كل شخص منا جهده لإيقاف القتل والموت الذي يحدث في فلسطين، ويدرك من هو الضحية ويدرك من هو الجلاد.
But I cannot say to the audience what to do, but what my job is to show the people what's going on, and then they decide who is the real victim and who is the real criminal.
أريد أن يعرف أن هناك في غزة أو أن هنا في غزة بشر يستحقوا الحياة، يريد أن يعيشوا كما يعيش أي شخص في العالم. هناك أطفال في غزة يريدون أن يعيشوا كما يعيش كل أطفالنا وأطفالكم. هذا حق طبيعي جدا لأهل غزة وأهل فلسطين، يجب أن يعيشوا ويمنحوا هذا الحق، ويستحقوا أيضا أن يعيشوا مثلما يعيش أي بشر بكرامة وبأمل.
I want to tell the world that the people of Gaza, the people of Palestine are like everybody. They have the right to have their own life, to live their life naturally like everybody else in the whole world.
Thank you. Before we open the floor up to questions, I would like our two guests from Gaza to have another opportunity to say anything else. Mohammed, Ghada, do you have anything else that you would like to share with us before we open the floor to our guests here?
قبل ما نبلش النقاش مع الأشخاص الموجودين هنا، إذا بتحبوا تزيدوا شيء على الأشياء اللي قلتوها.
غادة؟
عفواً؟
لا بحكي غادة، ممكن تبدأ.
I mean, this war is beyond like war. This is the thing that I always say. It's beyond being described in letters or in words. Honestly, that's why I feel like films are very important, because maybe they quite deliver the daily life that we are living. And we lived through many Israeli wars in Gaza, but this is the first time to see these layers of war. It's not airstrikes and bombing and shelling and all of this, but it's displacement, which is a curse, because you need to move and flee and be uprooted from your home every now and then. Most of the people in Gaza have been displaced over 10 times from one place to another, because whenever they get displaced to the other place, they get another evacuation or forced displacement order, and they have to build their lives again from scratch, and again they get another evacuation order, and they have to flee. And it is scary as well, especially when you have children, where you have to move with your family members, when you have an elderly parents and all of this. So it is beyond airstrikes, it's displacement, it is starvation. We've seen how Israel bombed all the agricultural lands in Gaza, so they didn't allow the Palestinians to produce their own food, and they blocked the entry of aids of Gaza. I can't imagine, or I can't say this, that we are in 2025 and we've seen children die of starvation in a country, on this planet. And it is also, again, we've seen how Israel, hit what is called the humanitarian zones or areas, hit tents, hit displacement and makeshift tent camps, hit schools, hospitals. So it is a multi-layer war with a multi-layer weapon that has been used. And my message eventually that we need these stories. Again, we don't want to transfer the Palestinian as a number. We need to tell more of these stories, and we need to show more of these stories, and we need to amplify more of the Palestinian voices in the media, world. Thank you again.
ما يمكن أن أتحدث فيه أنه كل شخص هنا وكل حياة هنا هي عبارة عن قصة لها مشاعر ولها مستقبل، وتحلم كما يحلم الآخرين بمستقبل جيد، ويريدون أن يعيشوا حياة جيدة. فكل شخص من 2.3 مليون من السكان العايشين في غزة هم قصص منفصلة، كل واحد فيهم يصلح ليكون فيلما. لذلك أنا كنا كمجتمع إنساني في أي مكان في العالم تعرضنا في حقبة من حقب التاريخ لظلم معين. يجب أن لا يبقى الضحية ضحية على طوال العمر، والجلاد جلاد على مدار التاريخ. يجب أن ننقذ الضحايا حتى يعيشوا في كرامة، ونوقف الجلاد عن ظلمه للناس.
Every person here in Gaza has a dream, has a future. Each one of us has his own story. What we need to tell you is that we have to stop what's going on and to stop this injustice going on by the Israeli, and to show who is the real bad guy in this story.
Thank you both. I'd like to open the floor to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We ask that you come up to the microphone, state your name and affiliation, and we ask that you limit to one question and no speeches. Are there any questions from the floor, please?
Hi, I'm Chiyoko with Fuji TV, and I have a question for those who are in Gaza, the both of them. And thank you for staying with us. And I want to ask if they feel sometimes life in danger because they are in media. They have any censorship when they're filming, or they have any like suppression of the speech. Thank you.
اوكي، مرحبا، انا اسمي تشيكو من تلفزيون فوجي. بدي اعرف اذا عندكم اي شعور بالخوف، او اذا في رقابه مثلا عندما بتبلشوا تعملوا تصوير وتحقيق للوثائقي.
الشعور بالخوف اكيد، احنا تحت النار ومعرضين للموت اكثر بشكل دائم. فقدنا تقريبا 250 صحفي وصانع أفلام خلال هذه الحرب. عدد كبير منا وصلوا رسائل من المخابرات الإسرائيلية ليتوقف عن التصوير والتوثيق. بيوتنا جميعا، سواء أنا أو غادة أو كل الفريق الذي نعمل معه، معظم السكان هم في غزة قصفت. حتى يعني أنا سأروي لكم قصة صغيرة. أول أمس كنا نصور في مكان، فالسكان طلبوا منا أن نعجل في التصوير. لماذا؟ حتى ونبتعد عن المكان، لأن باعتقادهم أن كل من يحمل كاميرا ممكن أن يكون مستهدف من الطائرات الإسرائيلية. هذا هو واقعنا الآن في غزة.
Of course, there's the feeling of fear, the feeling of death. Around 250 journalists had been killed. For example, the Israeli intelligence service, they also called the journalists and asked them not to film. For example, 2 days ago, we were filming in a place, and the people asked us to hurry up and film because the Israeli airplanes can see us and can bombard the place.
Ghada-san, do you have anything that you would like to add as well about your experiences as a producer? Ghada-san.
غادة، بتحبي تزيدي شيء أنت نفسك كمان؟
I was going to say that I mean, fear is always there. Because you don't expect when the airstrike will come, and you know, one of the things that I wanted to share, my nieces and nephews actually right now differentiate between the sound of an airstrike and the sound of a drone strike and the sound of a bombshell. So they are really young, and instead of going to school, instead of going to the kindergarten and enjoy like drawing and painting, right now, because of the intensity of the airstrikes all day, all night, they know what is the difference between airstrikes. So whenever an airstrike happens, they say, no, this is an F-16 strike. This is a drone strike. This is one that is coming from a tank. So you can imagine that the children in their age somewhere else go to school, draw, paint, love, And children here in Gaza are haunted by the sounds and the ghosts of such war. And definitely everyone in Gaza is afraid. In Gaza, we right now say that we have to stay in one room at night because if an airstrike hit, we can all die together or get killed together. So no one would mourn the loss of the other people. So we can all die, so no one would mourn the death or the killing of other people. And yeah, over.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the floor, please?
Hello, my name is Akira. I go to a local Japanese high school. I'm a student member for FCCJ. I have a question for both Mr. Mohammed and Ms. Ghada. The question for Mr. Mohammed is, what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about Gaza? And the question for Ms. Ghada is, what was the hardest thing when producing this film?
مرحبا، أنا اسمي تاكيرا، أنا طالب ثانوي. سؤالي للسيد محمد، إيش هي الأشياء الرئيسية الأشخاص اللي ما بتقدر تفهمها من الوضع بغزة؟ وبالنسبة لسيدة غادة، شو هي الأصعب شيء لقيتيه بعملية تصوير الوثائقي؟
بس معذرة، بس كمان السؤال كمان مرة.
اوكي، شو هي الاشياء يعني الناس ما بتقدر تفهمها كثير منيح من غزة؟ misunderstanding.
انت قصدك الناس اللي بالخارج يعني؟
نعم.
يعني هي للأسف هي غزة منذ سنوات طويلة شبه مغلقة عن العالم. يعني عدد الصحفيين ووسائل الإعلام اللي ممكن يصلوا للمدينة معدودين بشكل كبير. ويعني احنا على الأقل، يعني احنا غزة تم احتلالها عام 1967 وتم فرض حصار شديد عليها منذ 2006. وفي الحرب هذه لم يدخل إليها أحد. ربما الناس تعتقد أن مشكلة غزة هي بدأت مع 7 أكتوبر وما حدث فيه وما عقبه من حرب إسرائيلية على غزة. مشكلة غزة بدأت من 1948. هذا الذي يجب أن يعرفه الناس، أن 70% من سكان غزة هم أصلا من اللاجئين الذين طردوا من ديارهم من داخل فلسطين المحتلة اللي كانت موجودة قبل 1948 قبل أن تقام على أنقاضها دولة إسرائيل. 70% من سكان مدينة غزة أو سكان قطاع غزة هم من هؤلاء اللاجئين. جدتي مثلا هي واحدة من هؤلاء التي كانت تسكن في مدينة يافا وعاشت في غزة وماتت قبل سنوات، وماتت وهي ما زالت تذكر أيام صباها في يافا وما تعرضت له من قهر وموت وإبادة. ما يجب أن يعرفه الناس أن الإبادة لم تبدأ للفلسطينيين ولأهل فلسطين منذ 7 أكتوبر، هي بدأت منذ 1948 عندما أجبر السكان قسريا للخروج من منازلهم. أكثر من 70% من سكان فلسطين هجروا وطردوا من منازلهم، ودمرت 400 قرية في فلسطين بشكل كامل. هذا هو لب المسألة. ما يجب أن، ربما أنا طولت، يعني ممكن تترجم بعدين نكمل.
خلينا أول شيء تترجم. So the main misunderstanding of the people who are out of Gaza is that Gaza is completely closed. So nobody, no mass media can go into Gaza. And the problem didn't start in 7 October 2023. It started even before that. It was started from 1967. Since then, Gaza was occupied. And then when the Israeli left in 2006, so it was closed. Nobody can go in, nobody can go out. So even before that, most of the people, 70% of the population of Gaza are actually from what we call now Israel. So they were expelled from what it's called now Israel. Were expelled to Gaza, 70% of them. For example, my grandmother origin is from Jaffa, and before she died, she always remembered her youth in Jaffa. And for example, 400 villages were destroyed by the Israeli, and the people of who were living in this village were expelled, and they come to live in Gaza.
لذلك يعني مهم أن يفهم الناس أن مشكلة غزة هي ليست مشكلة إنسانية، مشكلة حصار وعدم وجود وقود وعدم وجود مقومات حياة. المشكلة هي مشكلة سياسية وحلها سياسي، أن تعود للناس كرامتهم وأن يكون بمقدورهم تقرير حق المصير. هذه هي المشكلة الأساسية التي يمكن أن نحل مشكلة غزة ومشكلة فلسطين من جذورها. المشكلة ليست بين فلسطينيين ويهود، لا علاقة لليهود في الموضوع. المشكلة بين فلسطينيين وأشخاص احتلوا أرضهم ومنعوهم من ممارسة حق تقرير المصير في بلدهم. هذه هي المشكلة التي يجب أن يفهمها الناس.
So the problem of Gaza is not humanitarian problem. It's not about fuel or food. It's a political problem. So it's supposed to be politically resolved. So the most important is to give back the proud to the Palestinian people. The problem is not between the Palestinians and the Jews. It's a problem of occupation.
And our question for Ghada-san, about the challenges that were faced in producing these stories.
اوكي، سؤال سيدة غادة حول المشاكل والصعوبات اللي بتلاقيها بالنسبة لتصوير الوثائقي.
Is Ghada-san still with us?
يبدو غدا ما عاد عندها انترنت.
Okay, it seems that she's no longer with us on the internet. If someone could please message her and see if she's able to come back in and join us. While we're waiting for her to rejoin us, are there any other questions for our director, Mohammed? Mohammed-san, we have some time. Would you like to share with us any other of your experiences?
سيد محمد، عنا شوية وقت إذا بتحب تشاركنا بأي تجربة قمت بها أو بشعورك أو شيء من هالنوع.
تمام. هي غادة رجعت، ممكن تجاوب على السؤال؟
بفتكر غادة ما عم نقدر نضحك معها على الإنترنت.
هيني هون.
نعم.
غادة صار. She's back.
Welcome. We have with us here in the room a high school student who had a question for you. It was about the challenges that you faced in producing the films.
Yeah, I remember this question. Thank you so much for being here. Actually, I want to thank him so much. One of it was about how I felt. Honestly, whenever I see someone who has an amputation, and this is probably a personal feeling, maybe because I see those people a lot, I feel like always what would happen if it was me or if I were him or her. And sometimes whenever like I see someone who has an amputation in his or her leg, I started to touch my legs or to touch my body parts that the other person has lost. And this is something very personal, and probably because, for example, my house was shelled 3 times with tank shells, and they were random, and we were like I mean, we were rescued with a miracle. Like, I don't know how it happened, but when we wake up, we saw the shrapnels around us, and I know these shrapnels could kill and could amputate legs, and I feel like very lucky that I haven't gone through this challenging experience in my life the same way that Ahmed has gone through. I mean, when I see Ahmed, I feel like really sorry, because he didn't lose only one thing. He lost his body parts. He lost his twin brother. He lost a sport that he used to do a lot and that rely a lot on his body parts that he lost. So he has a multi-layered losses, and it is heartbreaking. So sometimes I can't fathom this stuff, and it took me forever, like, to just fathom it and to understand it. Sometimes it leaves us with a trauma, with the traumatic experience that. I mean, why that happened first place? Why Ahmed or anybody with amputation should go through such horrible experience? Why he or she couldn't enjoy like a better life with all full rights like anyone in this world?
Thank you. We have another question from the floor.
No.
Mohammed, did you want to say something?
بتحب تزيد شيء سيد أحمد؟ لا محمد.
أنا بدي أتحدث الآن عن الواقع الموجود في مدينة غزة. للأسف إحنا سكان غزة بدينا يعني يتسلل إلينا شعور قوي جدا أننا متروكون لمصيرنا. أن الإبادة واستكمال إبادتنا أو تهجيرنا بشكل أساسي هو أصبح قدرا محتوما، لأنه لا يوجد فعل حقيقي يمكن أن يضغط على الاحتلال الإسرائيلي لوقف هذه الإبادة. وبدأ الناس يشعرون أنهم قد تركوا من كل العالم ليواجهوا مصيرهم بنفسهم، وهذا هو أسوأ شعور نعاني منه ويعاني منه الناس حاليا.
Well, actually now the worst feeling that the people of Gaza are feeling is that they have been left by everybody. Nobody is putting pressure on Israel to stop this war.
Hi, my name is Monique Souza. I'm a translator and a writer. I came here independently, but I have a question to Ghada-san. I want to hear more about the female role in documenting these voices, because we hear a lot of voices from Gaza recently, like the author Mossab Abtoha and others, but they're mostly male voices, and the director himself too. So when I saw Ghada's picture, that's what also drove me to this event. Like, what is it like, the female role in documenting these voices, and also like having females not only like answering and asking questions, about this. Thank you.
مرحبا، أنا اسمي مونيك، أنا مترجمة، بس كنت بدي أعرف أكثر حول دور المرأة في خاصة في هذا التصوير هذا الوثائقي.
Okay, thank you. Women in Gaza, or the burden of this war has been, or were, like, double on the women, because what we see that women here in Gaza, like, they fetch the water, they bring the wood, they cook the food. As you know, we returned many years back with this war, because, for example, I just wanted to give the simplest example. There is no fuel coming into Gaza, so most of the women in Gaza rely on wood. So they have to bring the wood and cut the wood. They have to open the fire, cook the food, wash the clothes, and so on and so on. And working women in Gaza, including myself, we have like lots of responsibility coming with this war, including the normal course that we do on daily basis, and at the same time we have stories to tell. But the thing that I feel that the stories we tell is the same stories that we live and the same stories that we experience. So the story that the mother of Ahmed were saying about the challenges of this life, we go through the same thing. We go through the same experiences. It's not hard for us to tell these stories because we live through these stories. But at the same time, sometimes I feel afraid that with the idea of normalcy that we've got and the idea of familiarity we've got with the things and the details that this war has produced, that we might do injustice to the stories and we might feel that we are not telling the real truth and the real details that we live through. That's why I try every now and then to write, to record, and to report and document small stuff that I should tell the world about these things. I should, like, whether visually or in writing, because I mean, people sometimes cannot imagine that we've got used to this, but the people abroad do not know these things because they don't live through these things. So, I mean, the challenges are huge on women. Women and the children, experience the brunt of this war. And as someone who helped in documenting this story, it was easy for us to document these stories because we live these details. But again, we remind every now and then that we should open these details again and, reveal them more and more. Thank you. Over.
Thank you. Thank you for this question, and Ghada, thank you for sharing your story. We have a question from one of our online guests. The question is from Khaldan Azhari. Are there plans to produce more films in this series? And the second part of the question is how many more films like this could be produced in Gaza?
عندنا سؤال عن طريق الأونلاين من سيد خلدون الأزهري. بدنا نعرف كم فيلم آخر حتقدروا تسووه.
Director Mohammed, are you still with us?
هذا السؤال إلينا محمد؟
الحقيقة السؤال في عنا سؤال من سيد خلدون الأزهري بده يعرف كم فيلم آخر حتتابعوا.
تمام. يعني هذا القرار حيكون بيننا وبين أبلينك. احنا بالنسبة لنا كآلف ملتي ميديا وكفريق ومحمد والفريق، احنا حنضلنا مثل ما حكيت انه كل شخص في غزة هو قصة. حنضلنا مستعدين ان طالما بقينا احياء وقادرين على ان نحمل كاميرا ان نتابع كل قصة موجودة في غزة ونظهرها للعالم.
So it depends also on the work with UPLINK, but as I said, every person here in Gaza has his own story. As far as we are able to carry a camera and to we'll continue filming and do documentaries.
Perhaps we could hear from Asai-san. Can you tell us about how you are helping to produce the films and what the plans are for future episodes?
本当はテレビ局とかなんかインターネットの大きなストリーマーがやればいいんですけど、非常にアップリンク小さいインディペンデントの会社でやってる。でもインターネットのテクノロジーがあるからできることで、自分たちで作り続けるにはやはり予算、ガザのチームにも予算を送らなきゃダメなので、今はT-BOT という形で見てもらうことで制作費を捻出してます。なんかテレビ局とかインターネットのプラットフォーマー、UNEXT でも日本のプラットフォームですけど、今週から配信が始まってるので、とにかくなんか世界のいろんなところに今アプローチしてるので、テレビ局、インターネットのストリーマーとか、そういったところが、僕らは今、ガザの彼らとのネットワークを作って、彼らたちが言うように、映像でガザの人たちの声を伝えることができるので、ぜひなんかそれを利用して、なんか協力していただければ、 会社としてはこうずっと続けていきたいし、まだまだその多くのガザの人たちの声の物語には全然その毎週でもできるぐらいのなんかコンテンツという言い方はあれですけど、ストーリーはあると思います。
So, UPLINK is a very small independent film production and theatrical distribution company. But thanks to the internet technology, we can do this stream online, and we're getting. We need more funds, but we're getting funding on the T-Bot where we stream our film. But we also need to send money to the people in the Gaza to film, and also in Japan, we're streaming on Unext, which is one of the Japanese streaming service. And we also wanted to team up with the people in Gaza and also appealing to the streamers worldwide and try to get more support globally. And we want to continue telling the stories and the voices of Gaza with images and support them. And we want to continue doing this. And I feel like we can do this almost every week if we like to.
Do we have any final questions from the floor?
So this is a question for both Mr. Mohammed and Ms. Ghada. And we here in Japan, we can already see the episodes 1, 2, and the theatrical version. Do you hear anything from Japan? Have you heard any voice, or do you feel any voice from Japan in Gaza?
نحن هون باليابان شفنا الحلقة الأولى، هل كان في أي سمعتوا أنتم أي تجاوب من جهة اليابان؟
一度最初の映画の上映の初日にガザと東京と京都のアップリンクの映画館をつないで、ズームで上映の後にお客さんの感想を聞いて Q&A をやったことがあります。
On the first day of a screening of episode 1, we connected Gaza with the Kyoto and Tokyo uplink, and we had feedback from audiences.
そこの声はニュースとかその紙の報道で見たのと違い、やはりリアルな生活を聞いて見て驚いたと。特に映画館ではドローンの音を、スクリーンスピーカーから聞こえるので、先ほどここで見たのとは全然違って、映画館でドローンの音をずっと聞いてると、先ほどガーダさんが言ってたように、本当にその爆弾の音かドローンの音かがわからないガザの状況をそのインターネットのその PC で見るのと全然違った環境で日本のお客さんには聞けたんじゃないかなっていう、そこはすごく大きかったと思います。
So for Japanese audiences, unlike what we hear on news and newspaper, they were surprised to hear the real voices of Gaza, and they were really stunned by the sound of drones. Especially, we screened in theater, so it was really stunning to hear this sound of drones and air raids constantly, and it was a really eye-opening experiences for many Japanese audiences.
As we come to a close, I would like to offer our two guests from Gaza, Director Mohammed and our producer Ghada, if you would like to share any final comments.
بالنسبة قبل انتهاء هذه المحاضرة، إذا بتحبوا تقدموا أي كلمة لإنهاء المحاضرة.
أنا لا يسعني إني أنا أحكي إنه اللي عمله أساي واللي عملته أبلينك يعني بالنسبة إنه هو عمل عظيم، أتاحوا لنا فرصة لنعكس قصصنا نحن. كل قصة نصورها وتعرض لديكم هي جزء من قصصنا الشخصية. فأنا وجهة نظري هذا عمل عظيم، نحن كفلسطينيين وكمجتمع في فلسطين وفي غزة بحاجة لأن يعرف الناس قصصنا وروايتنا، وأن نضخم صوت الناس هنا في غزة حتى يسمعها العالم. أنا متأكد إذا عرف العالم الرواية رواية الفلسطينيين وقصصهم سيكون هناك تحرك ما لإنصاف الفلسطينيين.
Well, I would like to thank UPLINK for the great job they have done. Everybody here in Palestine thank them. Thanks to them, if the whole world understand what's going on in Gaza, the whole world can move faster to help and put pressure to put an end to this massacre.
Ghada-san.
Sayyidah Ghada?
Yeah, I also wanted to thank UPLINK for this opportunity to cooperate with us and produce these stories and these films. And I mean, it's a hope, like, and I always say this, I hope, like, by the time we produce the other story or the other story is coming to be broadcast, we have a ceasefire here right now. But I mean, sometimes we feel that this is a very far-fetched thing to hope. But I always keep the hope, hopefully that one day we get a ceasefire and this bloodshed and these like horrible stories come to an end and come to a cease. And we start to produce normal stories about Gaza, people love for the sea, about Gaza's strawberry, about Gaza olive groves that have been demolished, about Gaza strawberry lands and the groves that have also been demolished during this horrible war, about Gaza's people ambitions and wishes and dreams. I mean, about Gaza's music. I know we haven't produced a story for a musician in Gaza, but there are so many musicians, dreamers, teachers, medical students and doctors in Gaza who really deserve a life and who really deserve to live a life like anyone in this world. Thank you so much.
I would like to once again thank our guests, Mohammed and Ghada, for being here with us. It's been such an amazing experience to hear directly from you. Thank you for the work that you're doing to share these stories, and thank you to UPLINK for bringing them to us.
شكرا لكما وشكرا لأبلينك أيضا لتعريفنا حول ما يجري في غزة.
Thank you.
ありがとうございました。